everyone. Welcome to HRM Talks, a safe space where we explore a myriad of topics which helps us to understand and bond with our children a little better. A very warm welcome. So, the theme of discussion today is something that is mind boggling and a worldwide concern among parents of tiny toddlers: child abuse. Let me introduce to our guest, the award-winning singer and songwriter, Miss Chrissy Sykes, who is running a unique project called My Body is My Body. The program is supported by the International Society for the Prevention of Child Abuse and Neglect, Compassion International, the Global Goodwill Ambassador Foundation, Cognizant Outreach, and hundreds of smaller NGO charities. Miss Chrissy has personally presented the program to over 350,000 children in the USA with great success. She spends her time teaching different community leaders around the world how to introduce this program into their local areas, working with organizations like the World Children's Parliament to encourage young leaders to get involved with child protection and education. Hello, Mom. Thank you so much for taking out time. It is an honor to have you with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor to be here.
As we begin, I just want a little brief that telling our audience that what exactly is your program, that My Body is My Body.
Okay, so it's a prevention program which offers parents and teachers a way to talk to their children in a comfortable way about child abuse prevention using music. So because we use songs to explain the different parts of what we're trying to teach the children, it makes it it's a lot simpler environment. It's a lot less threatening for parents to have to approach the subject, and it just makes it more fun. It makes it more fun for the child and for the parents. So it starts the conversation, which is what we want to do. We want to start this conversation with communities, with parents, with teachers, so that we can protect our children.
So when you talk about musical form, can I have an example of it?
Okay. I'll just sing you a little bit of the My Body is My Body song. And you'll see that they're just simple songs. We've got 6 songs in the program. So we go, it's my body, and nobody has a right to hurt me, 'cause my body is my body for me. It's my body, and nobody has a right to touch me, 'cause my body is my body for me. I've got 2 hands to feel, and 2 eyes to see, and 2 ears to hear what you're telling me. I've got 2 strong legs to take me where I go, and I've also got some private parts that I don't want to show. It's my body. So it's just really simple, but we're getting a good message out to the kids.
So the next question that comes to my mind, like hearing these songs, so why actually should we teach communities about child abuse prevention?
Okay, well, the biggest reason we need to teach communities is because we have over 1 billion children a year that are being abused. In every community around the world, it's not one community or another community. This is all communities around the world. Child abuse is prevalent everywhere. And we have to address this. I mean, 1 billion children is around about 50% of all our children. And the problem is that communities and parents need to know what this is doing to our children. It's they're ending up with low self-esteem, emotional problems, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-harm. That's a big thing now with children. PTSD, 50% of suicides are children that have been sexually abused. They have problems with injuries, difficulties forming relationships as they get older because of trust issues. They can be infected with sexually transmitted diseases, and also they have impaired neural connectivity, which can result in learning difficulties. So what we're doing is we're putting 50% of our children at a disadvantage over other children because they are being abused. And we have to show parents that it is a massive disadvantage for our children to grow up with any sort of abuse. And I'm talking physical, sexual, emotional abuse. There's so much that can harm our children. And as I say, it does put them at a massive disadvantage in the workforce because they don't learn as well as other children. And therefore, we're not getting as much out of our communities that we should do because our children are at a disadvantage. So it's just really, really important. It affects
something that you think that parents are reluctant to talk about or let their kids know and have these conversations?
Well, there's several reasons why parents don't talk about the subject. There's embarrassment. People might feel embarrassed to talk, but I want to say to you that if you use the My Body is My Body program, which is a free program, I don't charge for the program, anyone can use it. All the resources are free on the website. But I haven't had any parents in any community, even the most conservative communities around the world, have been happy with the program because it doesn't talk about sex and it doesn't do anything that parents can feel uncomfortable about. You just say, you have private parts and nobody should be touching them or taking photos of them. And if anybody does, you come tell me. And then if anybody hurts you, you come tell me. So we're not going into anything where parents should feel embarrassed about. So they shouldn't feel embarrassed, okay? Lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know how to address this problem. So there's lots of stuff on the internet. And again, my program has got tutorials for each song that covers every little bit. And it's in 19 languages. So, we've got the information there for parents to use, to read through, and to make sure they feel comfortable with. Some parents feel that it's not their place to teach it, that it should be taught at school. And then some teachers feel that it's not their place to teach it because they think the parents should be doing it. So we have this thing. My view on that is that parents and teachers should both be teaching it.
So what exactly signs that they must keep? Like there must be sign of those when it comes that the kid is going with the abuse, right? So what exactly are those checkpoints for the parents or the teachers to know about it?
Okay, well, for teachers, a lot of the time it's disruptive pupils in your class because kids act out because they want attention. They might not be getting attention at food. They might be neglected. They might be being sexually or physically abused. Mm-hmm. So they will take it out on other children. Mm-hmm. So have a look at your disruptive students and see what's going on in their lives. All too often we go, oh, that's just a bad kid, or he's just acting up. But there's a reason why that child is acting up. There's a reason behind it, But any changes, so if you've got a student that's an A student, all of a sudden start bringing in D's, or a child that withdraws, mm-hmm. or maybe flinches when you go to touch them on the shoulder or something like that, and mm-hmm. there's reasons. So again, in all my stuff, I've got what to look for in each category of abuse. But there are marked, look for changes, any changes in a child's demeanor, in a child's behavior,
Right.
And try to find out, because a lot of times when kids get to teenagers, parents just go, oh, they're just being a teenager, you know, it's just part of the thing. But sometimes there's deeper concerns, especially now with the internet and bullying. The rate in England, the rate of suicides of children because of bullying is shooting up, and it's just a terrible, terrible shame. So we have to, when I say open the lines of communication, I mean we've got to talk about all these things with our kids. We've got to be open, and it is the responsibility of the parent to do that, because I talk to a lot of kids and they say, oh no, I couldn't talk to my parents about anything like that, you know. But I feel that it's the parents' responsibility to show the child that it's okay. You can come to me with anything, ask me questions, tell me what's happening. I'm here to help you. So we're not looking at the child and going to lose our temper every time they come with a problem, you know. Or a lot of children are scared their parents are going to get really angry when they ask them about things, or tell them about things. So we've got to start the conversation, and we've got to keep calm when we hear things. But we can make so much difference in children's lives by starting this conversation.
So one amazing part that when I was just going through your program, so why music? Why do you use like music to be there to teach them?
Well, music is important because, again, as teachers, music is one of the best ways to get a child to absorb information. Because if a child's sitting in front of you at a desk and you're just giving them verbal information, you know, some of it's going in, some of it's going out the window, some of it, you know, everywhere else. But when you use music, first of all, the child is more engaged. So I always say to people, get children to stand up when you're doing the songs. Get them to stand up and do hand movements, sing along with the song, and it goes in. Because as an example, you will know songs you learned as a child, and you'll still be able to tell me all the words of that song. And when you're 50 or 80, you'll still know that song, because we learn them and they become ingrained. So I always say to people, you can start teaching this program and these songs to children from the age of 3, from 3 to 10. Yeah. So, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make children grow up with the knowledge that their bodies are their own. Okay, that no one has a right to hurt them, touch them, do anything that makes them feel uncomfortable. So that when children get teenagers, they understand the boundaries on bodies. Okay, so when they start dating, they have got that body empowerment. When they start, you know, having relationships, or we're having problems at work with, I mean, sometimes there's a lot of sexual harassment at work. They've got the knowledge to cope with that. So if we ingrain that into children right from the beginning, as they grow older, they'll be more empowered. And that's what we want. And for not only girls, for boys as well, because boys may not be sexually abused by adults as much, but they still are sexually abused by some adults and by other boys, and physically abused. You know, so we mustn't. You know, the emphasis is always on girls, but I try to tell people that we need to teach these lessons to boys just as much. They have a right to know their bodies are theirs as well as girls.
Right, very true. So with this, it leads to a question that what stops a child from coming to us and sharing? What exactly? Why does a
Okay.
child stop coming and share things with us?
Okay. A lot of the reason this is a problem is because abusers are usually quite manipulative. Okay. Um, 95% of people that abuse children are known to the child, known to the parents, or known to the family. So it's either family or close friends or people in the community that we trust with our children. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it comes back to we've got to teach our children to speak up. And then we've got to listen to the children when they come forward. So they don't come forward a lot of times because they're scared what might happen.
Mm-hmm.
They're scared that people might not believe them.
Mm-hmm.
They're scared they might get into trouble.
Yeah.
They're scared that their parents might not love them anymore because of what's happened to them. So a lot goes through the child's mind, and a lot is put into the child's mind by the abuser. They will, we've got a song in the program called Say No to Secrets, where we encourage parents and teachers to have a no secrets rule. Because abusers use secrets um, to gain that trust with children. They will give them a little secret and say, don't tell mommy or daddy. And then if the child keeps that secret, then they will tell them do something more, and they build that relationship with the child until they know that child won't talk. So we say always do the no secrets rule with your kids, so that if somebody does say, let's keep it a secret, the child says, no, I'm not allowed to keep secrets. And then I have to tell you, when I was in the USA, I went to the Nashville prison because I wanted to speak to the inmates that had been charged with sexual abuse of children.
Mm-hmm.
I said to them, what would you do if a child said, no, you can't do that, and I will tell? They said, well, we'd go and find another child, because we don't want trouble. The abusers don't want to be found out in communities. They want to do what they can do as much as possible without anybody finding out. So if a child says, no, I'm going to tell on you, they go, oh, all right, no. And they'll go and find somebody else.
This is something really insightful that we must let our little ones to be aware of, and I guess it's very important for the parents also to know. So
Absolutely.
so having this child about knowing about the abuse, how to deal it, should be a part of sex education.
I think it should be part of life education. I think it should be, because sex education, I don't know in India, but in the UK, I don't think it starts till later on. And as I say, I think this kind of program needs to be taught right from the beginning. There are a lot of kids that are abused sexually from babies, but 3 to 6, 7 is a prime age for sexual abuse. So we can't wait till it's in the sex abuse curriculum. It's body protection, and that's how we look at it. It's My Body is My Body is a body protection program.
So how do you propose to deal with if any such case that come on? Like how does a parent or a teacher out there deal with the child when any such case?
Okay, well, first of all, with a child, you need to be very gentle. You need to not push them, and not push for information. You let the child tell you as much as they feel comfortable, and then you can say to them, well, maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow and you can tell me a little bit more. So don't lose your temper and go, I'm going to kill that person for doing something to you. some parents go off the.
Yeah, of course. So the first thing that
They
the
lose.
anger comes out after hearing rather than getting onto the child, like how true, very true. Yeah.
Yeah, so don't do that. So just say thank you so much for telling me. You were very, very brave to tell me about that, and well done. And is there anything more you want to tell me? And as I say, if the child feels that they want to tell you more but they're not ready, you say, oh, we'll do it tomorrow, or maybe you can draw me a picture, or maybe you can write it down on a piece of paper if you're more comfortable. So the most important thing is to make the child feel comfortable and make the child know that you are supporting them. You know, that it's so important that the children know that, one, we believe them. Don't say, oh, I can't believe that. You know, I know so and so, they'd never do something like that. That's the worst thing we can do to a child. So believe them, be gentle, and then you need to report it and get some help. And see, you see, the problem is in families, people don't like to report because it's part of the family, it's uncle or it's auntie or grandpa or something else.
Yeah, it becomes very difficult.
But we have to report, because I came across a young girl when I was doing a program, and she came forward and said she had been sexually abused. And about 3 weeks later, I got a letter from the family saying thank you. That it was because of this little girl. She was the third generation in the family to be abused by this person. And it was only through her speaking out that it all came to light, and that all of them could now get some help, and the abuse stopped. So we have to remember that if your child is being abused by somebody in the family, that person's probably abusing somebody else in the family as well, and will carry on abusing if we allow them to do it. So even if it's difficult, we need to put a stop to it. Otherwise, it'll just continue and continue. You know, right. We can't let people continue to do these things to our children.
So you've been around, like reaching out more than 350,000 children, and you've been reaching out a lot of NGOs, a lot of teaching the mentors out there. So what challenges had been that you heard from the parents or from the mentor when they were dealing with such things, or something that they came up around? So how to access the program or how to implement it? What is something that, just like 1 or 2 points that surely you want that everyone to have in mind during this whole experience that was pretty common?
Okay, so what I've done is I've put 2 free courses together, which I suggest anybody that's dealing with the subject just take them. The first course is only 40 minutes, and the next course will take you maybe an hour or so. So they're not long courses, they're not in depth, but they will give you basic information on what to look for, what we're dealing with, how to report, and there's a reporting sheet in there so you can see, you know, what information you need to take. And the other thing I need to say is that if you're taking information from a child, please write it in the child's words. Don't interpret it into your words.
Okay, so just noting down exactly word to what the child is telling you.
What the child says.
Right.
Yeah. Because your interpretation might be something a little different.
True.
So
yeah.
When things are, when it gets reported and somebody else is looking at it, it's really important to write down exactly what the child says. You know, but as I say, the courses are there to just give you some basic information. And I really think, you know, I've been doing a lot of teaching to teachers lately. And I think all teachers need to be taught this. All teachers need to be taught what to look for. I've spoken to so many that have said, I don't know what to do. You know, once I get this information, I don't know what to do with it. So we've got to show teachers this is what you do, this is how you report, you know, this is what you need to look for. And I think we can make a massive difference by doing that, by making people aware. And also, if people think that they can't get away with doing things like this, they won't do it as much. You know, it's kind of like a naughty child. A naughty child will do what you let them get away with. If in our communities we say we will not accept this behavior anymore, it is not acceptable. We will report you anytime we find you doing anything to a child. Mm-hmm. Our children are our future. They're our everything, and we will look after them. And you cannot do that to children. And I think we need to just get that message out to everyone. It's 50% of our children is 50% too many that are being abused, you know. And you just take things like this war in Ukraine or other wars around, you know, the world. There's many in Ethiopia, in the Rohingya, there's in the Congo. There's all sorts of things, and people will exploit children terribly in these circumstances. You know, sexual trafficking and all sorts of things. So, you know, it's a mountain to climb. But we have to start in our communities and in our classrooms.
I so totally agree to you. And thank you so very much, ma'am. Like the way you are going ahead, and then the resources that you have kept it absolutely free for everyone to access. So all the details about my body is my body, all the resources, all the details are here mentioned in the description box. You can definitely go and reach out. You can have access to those resources. You have any question, drop a question out here. So we're going to share it with ma'am, and she's going to be answering it, and make sure that we do build up to the vision what Chrissy ma'am have and what we want our children to be safe. The partnership that has truly been said of a teacher and a parent going together, making safe spaces for the children. So let's do it together. Let's hold hands together, and you have the resources in place. And looking forward for that partnership. I hope this session was really insightful. And thank you so very much, ma'am, to be on the show out here. And it was amazing to hear things out. And it was quite insightful, quite knowledgeable. And the first thing that I'll do is that I'm going to be definitely going back to your site and looking out for a few things. Though I had it once, and it's wonderful to see how in a very easier language that you have done it. And so the music is there, and know your child well, make that space well. So I'll see you in the next series. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.